Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Crow Country. In the last part, we restored power to the 4 elevators across the utility corridors in Tolman's office, and then went about collecting a bunch of secrets across the theme park itself, including the running shoes. And now it's time for us to finally actually head down to that underground area we've heard so much about. But before we do that, in the storage room over in Ocean Kingdom, we saw that there was another owl that hooted 8 times instead of 5, and ringing the bell 8 times, then stomping will get us another thing of Magnum ammo. That's another secret out of the way. And speaking of secrets, let's grab one here in the Haunted Manor while we're going through it to get to the Northeast Utility Corridor. Now, we've already seen that if you play certain notes on the piano, named by the 3 paintings on the other walls that don't have a door on it, that painting opens. The one behind the piano had a shotgun shell, the one to my right is a door to the Northeast Utility Corridor, but there's one behind me that needs a cage to open up that has a secret in it.
I'm a little mushroom boy. I use my mushroom magic to grant you a wish. Tell me, what is it that you wish? What's that? You want to improve the range of your flamethrower? To each their own, I guess. Wish granted.
The reason I didn't do this earlier is, when it comes to the Mushroom Boy secrets, they actively won't take effect if you don't have the weapon they relate to. So because I could get that when we first came to the Haunted Manor, but I didn't have the flamethrower yet, because you can't have it yet, it's just not worth attempting to really open that in my eyes. Alright. We want to head down the northeast elevator to get to things the most easily. With that, welcome to the underground area beneath Crow Country, finally. We've heard about this place a lot. There's a lot of items in the main rooms here, honestly, but a lot of them are in the glass bottles or boxes, so what's in them is random. Now, we know from a note earlier that in order to get anything mainly done in this area, we have to head to the northwest underground area, but the reason I didn't go to the northwest elevator is because, well, this one was closer, and it's actually faster just to go this way, as there's less rooms underground than there are above ground. Namely, every single quadrant of the underground is shaped like an L, and each one has an exit that goes east-west and north-south. Effectively, you're going beneath the utility corridors directly. In order to unlock all the other doors down here, we need to head over here to this break room. Ooh, they got a billiards table. Not that I can play, but I always enjoyed the clacking. God knows I hated the minigame enough in Yakuza, namely due to Yakuza 3's remaster. Looks like the game got interrupted. My first boyfriend taught me how to play pool. He stopped wanting to play after I started winning. Weak. It's a shelf. More gold ore. Why do they have so much of this stuff? Well, over here, it's a notice board. I can't remember the code for the break room security gate. I swear it had a 3, a 6, a 2, and another 6, but I can't remember the order. I know I took the code from an old license plate, but it's gone missing. Weird. Our main goal in here is to head to the far wall and activate a switch, as that'll unlock all the other doors in the underground, effectively. Root access. It's down. There's a red light. The light turned green. I guess that's it. Time for mini-boss number 3. Again, 2 grenades and a couple of shotgun shells will probably take it down pretty quickly. Now, this is the one mini-boss you're probably going to feel forced to fight on a first run, because killing it will spawn in the license plate that Note was talking about, as the moment that boss spawns in, the door in here locks. Georgia 2663, Atlanta Falcons. Good thing this didn't melt indeed. You could just try to put those 4 numbers together in the various combinations, but honestly, on a first one, it'll be safer just to take care of that mini-boss, assuming you have enough ammo. Now, I still have yet to get into the main staff, but something I do want to mention as well. Mara herself doesn't have much of a voice in cutscenes and all that, but she does have a voice when she gets hit. Her voice is provided by Kimlin Tron, who I know best as Fidget from Dust and Elysian Tale, as well as Miss Fortune and Robo Fortune in Skullgirls. Tolman's Records, July 1988. I finally turned off the excavation machines. Boss didn't give me permission, but didn't argue. He's obsessed with the pool and the guests. He hasn't answered his phone in days. There was an accident in the park. Boss had to shut the place down. I don't think he cares at all. What do we got over here? Calibration Route 06, Friday. Loving and giving. Well, that's, I guess, those routes they've been talking about across the place. A large tank. Acid is steadily dripping out of the pipe. This smells almost unbearable. Maybe I could use some of that acid? Thus, we can finally fill that acid bottle we saw in the mermaid area that we got last part. And with that, now we have some acid to use ourselves. I guess I could turn the valve off and stop it dripping. Might as well. I don't think that really impacts anything, but I like that they have that little character note there to be like, I guess I could. Our goal here effectively is to go into all of the rooms that the roots are in across the underground. As not only there are some items in there, but there's also some plot progression. Plus it gives you nice safe spaces to run away from the enemies in. Oh, hi! Harrison, what are you doing? It's not safe down here, you know. Yeah, no, I know. I got chased by some kind of creature, I think. Did it touch you? Did it? No, I got away. Just about. I ran in here to get out of the way, you know? Right. Good idea. And there's this big gas vent, and I thought, okay, maybe I can be of use. Maybe I can turn this off. Yeah, how's that going? Bad! I don't know how to do it. I tried, but it's too complicated. I don't get it. Hey, it's okay. I'm sure you can do it. I'll help you out, okay? Can't take a look at Thursday's dialogue at the moment, but notably, you can actually mess with the levers around here to make the machinery over there move. A control panel. It's connected to a massive gas pipe. Thick, smelly fumes are flowing out of it. Gas chimney. Manual override. There's a lever. Let's pull it. Lever doesn't want to move. Total gas pressure must be at exactly 50 for successful manual override. So now we can go over here at this computer. The screen's cracked, but still seems to work. Need to use the data disk one more time. Time for a math puzzle. We need to get the gas pressure up to 50, but the screen where the meter is broken. So you just need to add up what you're putting together to get to 50. I think there's a couple of solutions to this, but I've pretty much always done exactly this combination. And now that we've done that, we can actually pull the lever. Hey, you did it. Yep. You're pretty smart, huh? I sure am. And so modest. We should leave. Good idea. Are you gonna come with me? Not yet. Sorry. With that out of the way, if you think back to Ocean Kingdom, I don't think I pointed it out, but if you were paying attention, there was actually a door in Ocean Kingdom that was overwhelmed by those fumes. We can now enter that room. I can't get into the pipe. This looks like some kind of high-tech lock. Display changed. Let's press the button again. Display changed. And it's different again. I have no idea what I'm doing. I might have to find a different way into the central area. We can do nothing with those doors, so don't worry about it. Just keep in mind their general locations for later, as it might come in handy in some form. Watch out for this specific enemy type coming up here, by the way. We've seen them for a while, but there's actually a couple of notable variants of them. Namely, this one I believe is the type that will actually explode a second after you kill them and send out shrapnel. So if you're too close to them when you kill them, you're probably going to take a good amount of damage. With that said, the explosion radius is pretty small. Welcome to the underground save room. This is going to be a main one, depending on how much you get done at this particular point in the game and what order. There's a sign. Calibration Route 4, Wednesday, full of woe. And over here we have not only a ring-bound book, but also the outer underground area map. So just to showcase, this place is a giant square with 2 rooms in each sub-area. And after saving, let's now move along back towards the door we entered to, just entering the various root rooms along the way. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll have noticed that I tend to run away from a lot of enemies in this game, because that's a lot of the classic Resident Evil ammo saving in me, even though they give you more than enough, especially for like the shotgun to clear some rooms here and again. I really recommend you clear the eastern halves of the underground, honestly, as in the case you need to come back down here, the already thin areas can make it rough to get around enemies, so when more spawn in, it just gets worse. There's a button. It's wired up to the machine on the opposite side. Huh. That was underwhelming. Maybe if there was something between the clamps? Some kind of electrocution machine. Maybe I can make use of it. Do I have anything that needs a bit of electricity? Not off the top of my head, no. Calibration Route 3, Tuesday, full of grace. Oh, also, because I haven't talked about it yet, the way you actually switch weapons in this game is by aiming and then pressing a different button, namely L1 for me. That takes a little bit of getting used to if you're used to going into the inventory to equip a different weapon like it's classic Resident Evil, but it gets pretty natural pretty quickly if you're swapping weapons regularly. There's the southeast elevator that leads back up towards the save room in the southeast utility corridor. That's one of my favorite elevators in the game on my first run, actually, because it's just such a safe area otherwise. Let's see what's in Monday's room. Oh, hi there, gentlemen. Just gonna take this ammo here, don't mind me. Calibration Route 2, Monday, fair of face. Samara, what do you make of them? What do I make of what? The roots. The big green tubes? Those are the roots? Why are they called that? That's just what Crow named them. What are they made of? The outer shell is mostly copper. However, the inner core is 24 karat gold. Purest there is! As you well know, Trumbull, you piteous old leech. Shut it, Tolman, you traitorous old cretin. And all the machinery, the big circular saw, it's for... we call it root excavation. Although harvesting might be a more accurate term. The roots are cut into shorter segments which are lifted up to the surface. All this just to extract the gold? Correctamundo! She wasn't talking to you, Trumbull, you heinous old parasite. Bite me, Tolman, you pompous old jackass! Mara, you really should get out of here. I can't leave now. I'm so close. Close to what, exactly? Do you even know? Listen, I know you want to... Don't bother with the pep talk, she doesn't care. Quiet down, Trumbull, you greasy old half-wit. Don't talk to me like that, Tolman, you cantankerous old sea sponge. Mara, you should leave. Mr. Trumbull, what are you doing down here? Hey, kiddo, what's shaking? I'm still looking for Edward Crow. Ah, ain't we all, ain't we all. Why are you looking for him? Oh, well, how should I put this? I just need a little help with something. He's on the run from the Brazilian authorities. He came back here to hide. Shut your trap, Tolman, you self-righteous old busybody. Why don't you make me trouble, you bloated old gas bag? So what happened in Brazil? Crow and I were running a little operation, see? It was somewhat duplicitous in nature, I guess you could say. You were selling the gold, right? The gold from the roots? Oh, you've been reading up on me, have you? Why go all the way to Brazil to sell the gold? It's like, too much of a good thing? You know what I mean? No. Well, you see, the gold we scooped out of the roots, right? It's too pure, and there's too much of it. But why is that a problem? Crow didn't want anyone connecting the gold back to his land. He didn't want the U.S. government looking into where it was coming from. I was telling this story, Tolman, you old bastard. Well, you were doing a shit job of it, Trumbull, you worthless old junkie. So at least before you got in trouble, you must have been making a lot of money, you and Crow? You could say that. Then why come back here at all? Why not just go live on a desert island or something? They went and seized my assets, didn't they? All of it. It's all frozen unless I show my face in court. Answer all their lovely questions. But let me guess. Crow kept his name off the paperwork, so he gets to keep his share of the money. Is that why you really came back? To make sure Crow gets dragged down with you? She really sussed you out. Well, it took her 2 minutes. Quit your cackling, Tolman, you arrogant old snob. I'll laugh at you all I like, Trumbull, you dopey old clown. Run along now. Alright, I'll leave you two to kiss in peace. We'll almost loop back around to where we first entered the underground, and that's kind of my goal here, is just to kind of loop back around to where we started, because then I can get somewhere else I will need to go really quickly. Welcome to our next root room. This is the central underground area map, which we take a look. That's the area that's blocked off by that door we can't enter through. Handwritten letter. Hey, Ed, did you get my rock shipment? Why don't you answer the phone? What's going on over there? Marv. There's a sign. Calibration Route 1. Sunday. Preserved for posterity. Some kind of machine. I think it's a generator. It looks ancient. I wonder what it's powering. Actually, I have no idea how to turn it off. Looks fragile, though. Maybe I can just destroy it? Indeed, we can. Kaboom! And if you think about where we are at the moment and take a look at the map to confirm it, we're actually just about directly below Crow's office right now. So that generator, based on the note we already saw earlier, is probably the one that was electrifying his door. So now we just need a gold key to actually enter Crow's office. We're getting there. We've been trying to find him the entire goddamn game at this point. With that said, before we go up the elevator, I am going to quickly walk past it because the only root room we haven't actively entered at this point is the one beyond the elevator. So just to showcase all 7 of those rooms on top of the break room we were at down here, I might as well, you know? Helps that off the top of my head, effectively, this next root room is probably the least required one in the game because there's not even a cutscene in here. There's just an item and this diorama we're going to investigate. Calibration Route 7, Saturday. Works hard. It's a wooden model. The top layer looks like it's supposed to be grass. Then the bottom layer looks more like soil or rocks. It's a wooden model, alright. I guess that's meant to be the shape of the roots? probably a good diagram of Crow Country itself at this point. So now that we're heading back up to the northeast utility corridor, the door is no longer electrified, but we need to find the key. Now, you could actually have seen the key already by now. In fact, I think on my first playthrough, I found it by accident when trying to do something as a funny bit on stream. Namely, if you think back to the northwestern utility corridor, we saw a photo of the fairy from the stage show in Fairy Tale Town, with its head removed and plugged into the thing we needed to use the crank handle on back in the construction site room here in Fairy Tale Town. That machine is what made the resin that the mask was in, because there's resin in the fairy's head. There's something trapped inside, and if we turn the camera, we can see it's the golden key. There are 2 ways you can get this golden key. I'm doing what's sort of the main way right now, which is we want to take the acid bottle that we got filled with acid already earlier this part, and put it into the water tank in the corner of the room. Just gotta watch out for any enemies that might have spawned in that are now over here like that. Now I want to go over to the valve handle that we saw in this room already and pour the quote-unquote water onto the fairy's head, which will melt the resin. The other way that is much faster, if you think back to the construction site where we first saw resin, we melted the resin that had the woeful mask with a flamethrower that was in the construction site as it was. If you have the flamethrower weapon, you can just melt that resin without having to get the acid bottle at all. That's a cool little bit of speed tech that I really like. This game has a lot of stuff like that. Honestly, I recommend at least playing this game twice, once just going about it and figuring it out as you go, and then another time doing effectively the most efficient way possible, because it really does change the way the game feels in a way that's really satisfying. With that said, if you're trying to get all the secrets and thus all the achievements in some form or another, you're still going to want to get the acid bottle, as one secret in specific very much needs it. Now that we have the gold key, though, and the door's no longer electrified, we can enter Crow's office and finally talk to him directly. Alright, big man. We got words to say, whatever they may be. Huh. Don't like how empty this place seems. Crystal Crow right there, by the way. We're getting almost to the end of those. Only 6 remain. I do recommend really investigating this room carefully, though, because there's a lot of stuff like some infinite med kits in the case you're running low on health. It's ringing. Hello?
You know, I never had a plan for all the gold. In fact, it quickly became a problem. We couldn't sell it, basically, not without arousing a lot of unwanted attention. We had too much of it too quickly. And the shape, those cylinders, well, it's not the normal process, is it? But then I had an idea. What if it was the normal process, or what if we pretended it was? So Marvin and I devised a plan. We just needed a site, a disused gold mine. Marv found one in South America, in Brazil. And you know what? It worked. For a while, at least.
He's gone. It's a television. Every few moments, something flashes up onto the screen. I wish it wouldn't. Well, if he's not in here, there's gotta be something we can find that'll help us along our path. Let's try checking around the room. I know I saw a degree over here a moment ago. Emory University. In recognition of the completion of the prescribed course of study, Edward L. Crow has been admitted to the degree of biochemistry. Here's a note, probably from Marv. Hey, Ed. We didn't pass the inspection. They figured out that the ore is homemade. The Brazilian authorities want to know where the gold's really coming from. This is getting too dangerous. I'm coming back to Georgia. See you soon, Marv. Alright. What's with this blackboard? Control room elevator switch number code. My first is in Grinner, but also in Goblin. My second is in Guest, but not in Puddle or Spindle. My third is in Lumber and Goblin, but not in Puddle. My fourth is only notable by its absence. Well, what does that mean? Good question. But here we got a slide projector. Let's read these slides. File number 3762, Guest. Emerged at around 50% root excavation. It varies from specimen to specimen, but they largely retain a human-like appearance. Most distressing, they are capable of a limited, non-verbal form of vocalization. Time for our monster bios. File number 1739, Goblin. Emerged at around 55% root excavation. Despite their small stature, I have concluded they are not infants. On the contrary, they may be a senior variant of the Guests. Their advanced age has caused a weaker genetic makeup, which diminished their anatomy upon emergence. File number 6413, Spindle. Emerged at around 60% root excavation. Much of their muscle and fat is missing, but their bones have become elongated. However, the bone mass is spread more thinly, and consequently, the bones are brittle. Additionally, without sufficient flesh as cushioning, their joints are weak. File number 1347, lumber. Emerged at around 60% root excavation at the same time as the spindles. Here the opposite phenomenon can be observed, as the lumbers are stiff and stout with excessive muscle and fat. Perhaps this could explain why the spindles have insufficient flesh? File number 5592, grinner. Emerged at around 70% root excavation. The form is bipedal, but other similarities to a human body are quickly disappearing. In terms of anatomy, each specimen is vastly different from the next. File number 3973, puddle. Emerged at around 80% root excavation. I pray this is my final entry, for I cannot imagine how anything beyond this point would be capable of emergence. The puddles experience widespread cell necrosis. They are, quite literally, melting. Horrifying. So now for the puzzle here. The blackboard to the left talked about things that are shared between these creatures, but it's not in their names, it's in their file number. For instance, the first line is, my first is in Grinner, but also in Goblin. If you look at their file numbers, they both have a 9 in there, so the first number is 9. My second is in Guess, but not in Puddle or Spindle. If you take a look at them and average that together, 2 is the second number. With that said, there's a much faster way to figure this out that I really don't get the point of. Here's a photograph. It's Edward and his daughter. There's something strange about the frame. If we pull it, this statue moves out of the way, and we can now access an area behind it. And if you look carefully, you can even see a campfire over there. It's a statue. She's quite beautiful. And made entirely of gold. Jacqueline Crow, 1948 to 1982. Beloved wife and mother. Here's our next save room, but if you look up here, 9218, that is the password for the door. I don't get why that's there, because the puzzle isn't exactly hard. In fact, I think it's a really fun type. I like puzzles like that. It's always just kind of felt off to me. The Diary of Edward Crow, age 10 and a half. Saturday, I'm excited. Tomorrow, Father and I are going camping up in Condor Country over the river. Father says it's just a nickname, as there are no condors in Georgia. I'm looking forward to the trip nonetheless. I love being outdoors at night. Sunday, Father and I found something strange while camping, a green, shiny thing sticking out of the ground. It's wriggling back and forth like a little bug, but Father says it's not a bug, as it's made of metal. Monday, we found a second wriggling metal thing a couple hundred feet south of the first one. Father wanted to know what it was made of. He cut the tip off with his camping knife. Inside's a different metal. It looks like gold. Tuesday, 2 more shiny things. 4 in total. Father says there may be more. Wednesday, Father bought Condor Country, as well as a couple of acres on either side. He said we could rename it if we wish. So they found these a while back. Scrolling back and forth. Is it alive? A good question. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 7, I guess we're going to go see what's in that door that's locked over there with that password before moving on to other objectives. See you guys then.